Alright, let's do a little side tech work here. We're here on our bridge. We got our bridge LCDs labeled. We want all of these to be text. We want that font to be the monospace. Make our font as small as possible. Left alignment. We might have to rotate that around, and no padding on there. So let's put our first piece in, and we'll do that in the edit text. Then I can paste using the image to LCD converter thing, and see that I need to rotate this. Rotation 90. I need to do that for all of these guys. Bring your rotation up to 90. And that should work. Use the converter to turn an image into whatever is necessary, and then the symbols will actually show up as the colors. Unfortunately, you don't get a whole lot of resolution out of those kinds of things, just because the size that you have to work with on these LCDs is not very big. And that way, when I sit back here in the chair and it renders, I can see what the navigational outlook is. And then I'll do the same thing from up front here and have that. That's probably a little closer than what you need if you're going to be actually looking at that main view screen, but from here it looks ideal. Dare I say, even here it might be pretty good, but if you use the little text to LCD image converter, you can make custom LCDs for yourself just like that, and it gives a little bit more flavor to everything. So with that said, we can just hop over into our remote control, or we can have our buddy take us out, since he decided to show up and help us. So go ahead and set a course for us. Pew pew pew, righty tighty. I can't get in close enough to see myself, but to do the finger guns. Engage. Alright. Hello, greeting engineers. Welcome back to our survival playthrough. Currently we are sitting on the bridge of our capstone ship here. Put up the main display, and that's just the image to text generator putting out 2x5 worth of LCDs. And I use the slanted LCDs to get that extra contoured look on there. I think it looks pretty decent, even though the aspect's a little off because of the extra width on that diagonal slant, but it works out alright. Let's do a quick loop around the ship here real fast. Started placing just some small blocks here and there to get things going, a couple extra refineries to chew through all of the extra materials that we're doing, and we started laying out some of the interior. A lot of the bottom, all the blocks are placed, but they just need to be finished welded. And of course we're going to need our final paints over everything as we keep going too. There's still tons of work to be done here, including fixing up our camera views, because wherever we sit, that's where the cameras sit around, so it kind of changes everything. Plus these seats in here, the one I'm at currently is not an actual flight seat. This is just the passenger seat that you can really, more of the captain's seat, but it's a passenger seat and it doesn't have any flight controls. That's what these two up here do, so I can actually fly from there. But that being said, we have a lot of work to do, a lot of blocks need to be placed, but we're coming to a point where if I need to do more tasks for the NPC stations to get some cash, to get more resources from them, then I'm going to need a small repair ship. And having a small ship to weld is also what I need for most of this ship. And that little ion guy I had was decent, but it did a lot of damage everywhere. And I don't like ion just because it doesn't seem to be the most practical. And even when I was using it, that's kind of my fault where I stopped paying attention to it, and it ran out of juice, but it was easily recoverable by popping a reactor on with some uranium, and it was good to go. So for the next ship, I'm going to go for something slightly bigger that will be substantially more advantageous for us, as in a scout ship, and also for doing these repairs around here. Oh, I'll build it off of stock here, but I'll just leave it hanging off the side. So the connector, this ship that I have in mind is going to be super small and compact, and it's not going to be able to do a lot of long-range stuff, but at least with a jump drive of its own, it should be able to do a lot better for the stellar cartography project. And that's great because I need to jump between like 5K on all these, and it's faster if I can just zip around with less mass. So moving my big ship around isn't the most ideal thing, but if I just make something smaller that can be, I guess, more efficient at what it is I need to do, then we'll be better off. There we go. And while I'm thinking about this too, I should tell my ship to build me another jump drive's worth of components before I forget about it. I don't want to really do conveyor junctions. If I just use cargo containers, I can have cargo everywhere. That's what that first one was. Have cargo everywhere. And then I can double these down as both junctions in all directions and actually have the cargo capacity. Back at the ship, put in a couple of hydrogen tanks. That way I'll have ample amounts of fuel on here. And put in a couple more thrusters for stopping. This is going to be my upside. Put up to here. And then I want some downward thrust to help me too. I'm going to use this to go to planets, so I'm going to want a fair amount of downward thrust. That should do me. Because I've got a jump drive on this thing, the jump drive uses 32 megawatts of power on it. A single reactor will not be enough, nor will a battery, but if I use 2 batteries, each outputting 10 megawatts, I believe it is, and then this is another 15 off of that small reactor, we should be able to power everything that we need. And while the reactor won't be able to put 100% power in there, it'll drain off the battery and then recharge the batteries as I go. So that way I should never be without. Stellar Cartography Scout, I'm also going to want a ore detector in here. I can put that up front here as well. We can put in plates. Let's do it like so. Kind of building this like I built another ship I made, a Hornet from Star Citizen. That one was made to be more or less a pure fighter. And this one, not going to be a fighter obviously, but it's going to kind of have similar looks. I like the way that looks. It looks pretty good. think the smartest thing to do for this is to pull up some welder pipe. I shouldn't have run out of ice. This should have been going in that tank. Oh, dummy. I built the wrong kind of tanks. And now we can maneuver towards that welder that we had just set up. We can get the rest of the ship going. There's our welder arm. We'll just come over here nice and carefully. And we can give this guy a paint job. Well, that's looking like it's in a pretty good place right there. So let's paint it. Kind of like my color schemes with orange and white and gray. So let's start off with some default colors. Good. Let's go with plastic gray, maybe, and turn everything into that. Let's do sci-fi armor gray. And then I'll turn a lot of things into either plastic white or weldless white. Because I really hate these extra detailed piping things in here. They just don't look very good. Oh man, I wish I had that paint tool in mirror mode. All the inner workings of the ship I kind of want to be gray. That way we have a bit of contrast. I've got power, I've got thrust, and now it's time for some dangerous high-speed maneuvers. Let's try not to regret crashing into my ship here. But we've got a great maneuverability. Hard burns on the shuttle, and I'm not burning a whole lot in the way of fuel. Very nice. Take a tour around the asteroid. Cut off that forward thruster. Way I can just cruise with solid gold pop up on there. I know there's golden ice. This is how I'm going to do my stellar cartography prospecting. I can just keep on a nice close profile, watch out for those widowmakers there, and then I can just jump away to the next location. And if I'm a little more conservative with my fuel, I won't burn a good chunk of it. There we go. I like that. I like that very much. Turn on all of our thrusters so we can brake. And now we can put you to your primary goal, which is going to be building me up. Let's come over here real fast. And I don't have any good forward connectors, but what I can do is take off part of your wing and think this part, and I'll make a little proboscis coming forward. Or I could take off that thruster. I'd rather not. I can just deal with that right there. Being good. Here we go. That should be far enough out front. And then welder arm. Let's see if I can see that well enough. Oh yeah, I can see that very easily. Yeah, fantastic. Now I have this disgusting looking protuberance. I can take that off when I need to. Got a welder for it now. And my connector is oddly enough on the bottom here. And I just have to be careful about that whenever I dock up to my ship. Probably turn off the auto lock on that guy. My connector is under the second set of thrusters. Okay, auto lock I did. And I just blew up something. Oh shit, I just blew up the jump drive. That's not good. That's really not good. That's double not good. Oh man, I almost killed the entirety of that jump drive. It is gone. What about... Oh, come on, come on. Yes, I know. Auto damp. That's a cargo container. You're departing too fast, so I do have some thrust. Need that, go away. I need the... Let's take away this jump drive. It's almost all gone anyways. You can go back in there. I don't need you online necessarily. I think I need that cargo container. This cargo container needs to come up. But we are drifting fast. And it's all because part of this exploded. I really need to weld up the side of the ship. I'm going to try that again. And that one explosion, just because we're dealing with such narrow margins here, that one explosion did a lot of damage to this ship, and that kind of reacted all the way through, it seems. Back here, make construction components. Let's take the cargo containers. At least we're nice and bright, so we can see that. It's a shame about that jump drive there. That was like the entirety of the jump drive. You're online, you're online, online. Okay, thrusters online. So now we're stopped. The front is undamaged. You're fixed. That other hydrogen tank should have been good too, because it should have been behind this cargo container. We'll see once we get back to the ship. Dang, that is really unfortunate for the first time out, but at least we can see how explosive damage from block deformation propagates through ships. The answer is violently. Violently, it propagates through the ships. Let's just go back. Get back to the Swift missile here. My connector's damaged too. Let's just get close for now. And I can repair whatever else I need. Would have been so good had I not just exploded there. In the meantime, let's 3, 2, 1. Let's get a little liftoff so I can get away without blowing up my ship. Those dampeners off, I can just go away gracefully. Turn my welder arm on. I should be able to see very nicely in that first point of view. There we go. Ooh yeah, I am so much heavier now. Now that I can see where that welding arm is, I should be able to weld up all this plate pretty nicely. That was a good bit of welding, and I guess I'll go and collect some more iron so I can get more plate going and build up more of the ship. But we're getting this exterior in place, and that gives me the limits for what the interior is. And with the interior in place appropriately, I can start to put more interior features in. So this first thing I've got over here is that medical room. Let's go fly back over there. And I guess I can make this proboscis a little bit longer and just weld up all the pieces in here, or I can go back and forth. I'll probably end up pulling a conveyor port over. That way I can grab materials from it easier. But if I want, I'll figure out what I want with this fort too. I don't know if I want it all steel plate or just as corridors. I'll think of something, and we'll get back to that later. But that's all I've got for right now. Until next time, go forth and build great things. See you then.